Hello, good afternoon and welcome to Joy Newsroom. We're live on DSTV channel 421, GoTV channel 125 on all our social media handles. We're Joy News on TV. You can also watch us live on myjoyonline.com around the world. My name is Coming up within the next 60 minutes, Ghana Health Service races against time to contain the emergence of cerebrospinal meningitis in the Upper West region, which has claimed 10 lives in 1 month, with suspected cases rising to 42. We'll hear from the Ghana Health Service. Also coming up, President John Dramani Mahama urges African government to collaborate with the private sector and invest in vocational and technical education to equip the youth with the skills needed for the future. We'll hear from him as he urges African countries to add value to their natural resources. And later in the bulletin, the Multimedia Group Limited marks 30 years of joyfulness and existence with a Thanksgiving service. We'll tell you how our colleagues at Love FM and Inshira FM in the Ashanti region also marked the occasion. Please stay for details. We'll be right back. Thanks for choosing us. We are your home of independent, fearless, and credible journalism. Now, cerebrospinal meningitis in the Upper West region has claimed 10 lives in 1 month, with suspected cases rising to 42. In response, the Ghana Health Service has deployed a team from its national headquarters to assist local health authorities in containing the disease. Now, to mitigate the impact of the outbreak, the Ghana Health Service has announced free treatment for affected individuals. There's more in this report by Rafiq Salam.
For the past 30 days, the Upper West region has been battling with cases of cerebrospinal meningitis (CSM). The region, at the end of last week, recorded 19 suspected cases, 9 confirmed cases, and 7 deaths. The region is therefore not a stranger to the disease, as it lies on the CSM belt due to the long dry spell between October and March. What, however, caught health practitioners in the region flat-footed is the early high number of suspected cases and deaths recorded, according to Upper West Regional Director of Health Services, Dr. Damien Punwiri.
From December going to March, April, it's a perennial problem that we report cases of meningitis. But what is strange this year is that we haven't gone far, and the region has already started reporting higher than usual cases, and also the deaths associated with the cases is also quite high.
The rise in the number of suspected cases and deaths has elicited a visit from a 6-member national team from the Ghana Health Service to join their counterparts in the region and districts in order to put their best foot forward to combat the disease. Leading the charge was the Upper West Regional Director of Health Services, Dr. Damien Punwiri, who was accompanied by the delegation from the national headquarters of the Ghana Health Service, led by Director, Institutional Care Division, Dr. Lawrence Ofosu-Boadu. They visited 2 apex centers of the disease, Nandon Municipal and the Kaleo District. During the monitoring visit, the team first stopped at the Ahmadiyya Muslim Hospital at Kaleo to interact with health personnel and patients. Admitted at the hospital and receiving treatment was a student from Kpetoe Senior High Technical School, Barakatu Basiru, who was brought to the hospital after experiencing symptoms of the disease.
When I slept and wake up, my body will be hot.
And
now,
it started when?
Just in the evening.
Yesterday?
Yeah, the day before yesterday.
Okay.
By now I'm okay.
Turn your neck. The name and then turn it to the other side. The name. Okay. Is it paining you?
Yes, but I can't tell. The first, I can't turn my neck anymore.
Now you can tell.
Yes.
Dr. Damien Punwiri disclosed that the number of suspected CSM cases in the region in the last 30 days has risen from 19 to 42, and the number of deaths also increased from 7 to 10. He, however, was quick to point out that the number of persons treated and discharged were 27, meaning only 5 are still undergoing treatment at the hospitals.
The region has reported a total of 42 suspected cases of meningitis and 10 deaths. So that is the regional picture now. The last death occurred last week, and out of the 42 cases with 10 deaths, 15 are currently on admission. 5 are currently on admission, 4 very stable, 1 currently not so stable but better, recovering gradually. And so it means that 27 have so far been treated and discharged. So not everyone who came to the hospital or sought care died.
One thing that stood clear during the talk, which health practitioners in the region saw as a stumbling block to treating the disease, is the late reporting of cases to health facilities. The cruel reality, however, is that the deaths that have been recorded, none of the victims are subscribers to the National Health Insurance Scheme, and as a result, they stayed away from health facilities. Dr. Damien Puin announced that treatment of CSM is now free and urged people to seek early medical treatment.
No health facility will charge you when you come with a suspected case of meningitis. The service will pay for that. So that is the situation of the region. Currently, for the past few days, we haven't had a mortality from meningitis anymore, from Sunday to this time, which means that people are responding. The health service is also doing well.
Team lead from the headquarters of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Lawrence Oforobodu, on his part, noted that the visit was successful, stating that they have been able to map out strategies which will enable them to contain the disease.
So I believe that what we have put together as a team with the regional response is going to keep down any other difficulty and challenges. The instruction is that nobody should die from suspected meningitis from today. And we are going to put all hands on deck. The expertise we have realized that we are going to boost the expertise. We are going to call for more logistic support. They have some, but it may not be adequate if the numbers go up. So partners and all corporate bodies must also come on board. And the commitment from the leadership is very clear when we came here. So I believe that as a national team, we will not sit in Accra. We will continue to engage. We continue to give them the support of the expertise. That may be a challenge now. But I realize that for now, they are able to cover all other areas. They need just support.
The team concluded their tour at the Nandolo Keleo Hospital, where they interacted with staff of the hospital and personnel from the Health Directorate. Reporting for Joy News, Rafik Salam, Nadoli.
Let's come now to the Greater Accra region, where Accra Academy has launched a full-scale investigation into issues that came up with a student in the school. Well, according to them, they're doing this in collaboration with law enforcement authorities. It follows a disturbing incident on its campus where a video that has gone viral shows that a student was being beaten by a colleague with a machete. Now, the victim was struck with the flat side of the machete rather than its sharp edges. Now, in an official statement issued by the school administration, Accra Academy assured parents, guardians and the general public that the matter is being treated with utmost seriousness. Well, on your screens now is that statement released by the school, and it reads as, "This is to address the concern and fears that have been raised regarding a trending video on social media which appears to show a student from our school flogging a colleague with a cutlass." Now, they go on to state the facts. The incidents did not happen recently, but rather almost 2 weeks ago. The victim did not report the incident to the school authorities until the video surfaced on social media and management's attention was drawn to it. They go on to say that they have identified all the students involved, and the student who perpetrated the act has been handed over to the police for further interrogation. They go on to say with the last 2 paragraphs that preliminary investigation reveals that the machete used by the boys was brought from their home and not taken from the school. They go on to state that the matter is still under investigation by the school disciplinary committee, and all stakeholders will accordingly be informed of the outcome, and that is signed by management of Accra Academy. President John Dramani Mahama has expressed concern over the growing frustration among Africa's youth due to limited opportunities to achieve their dreams. He urged African leaders to accelerate economic growth, create employment, and combat corruption, which continues to deprive nations of resources and hinder development. Speaking at the 2025 African Prosperity Dialogue at the Accra International Conference Center, he called on leaders across the continent to work towards building a strong, resilient, and self-reliant country. There's more in this report.
Prosperity cannot be achieved without good governance, transparency, and accountability. Investors and businesses thrive where there is stability, predictable policies, and the rule of law. Our youth are getting tired and frustrated at the lack of opportunity for realizing their dreams and aspirations. Our decision to embrace democratic governance was supposed to be accompanied by a dividend that will lead to improvement in the lives of our people and prosperity for all. Unfortunately, progress in this regard has been sluggish and largely intangible. If we are to maintain the faith and trust of our citizens in democratic and constitutional governance, we must accelerate our rates of economic growth, expand investment, and provide employment opportunities for our young people. As leaders, therefore, we must reaffirm our commitment to strengthening democratic institutions and ensuring free, fair, and transparent elections. We must fight corruption, which robs our nations of resources needed for development. And we must promote peace and security, as economic growth is impossible in times of conflict. It is therefore a call to action, this African Prosperity Dialogue, that Africa's time is now.
President Mahama also urged African countries to process and add value to their natural resources to boost global trade and create sustainable jobs for the youth.
We must move beyond being exporters of raw material to become producers of finished goods. Whether it is cocoa in Ghana, oil in Nigeria, copper in Zambia, or diamonds in Botswana, we must process and add value to our natural resources. By so doing, we'll not only increase our share of global trade, but also create sustainable jobs for our people, especially our young people. We must indigenize ownership of our natural resources. There's capital and technology available to us today to increase our participation in the exploitation of our natural resources. Our governments must therefore work hand in hand with the private sector to drive industrialization through special economic zones that encourage manufacturing and innovation, access to finance for small and medium-sized enterprises, which are the backbone of our economies, investments in technical and vocational education to equip our youth with the skills needed for industries of the future. The fourth industrial revolution presents a golden opportunity for Africa to leapfrog traditional development models. We don't need to go back to inventing the wheel. Digital transformation can drive financial inclusion. It can improve public service delivery and create new opportunities for all our people. We must therefore expand internet access and digital infrastructure to bridge the digital divide. We must encourage fintech and e-commerce to facilitate trade and economic participation. We must invest in research and development to support our homegrown innovations. Technology indeed has the power to make Africa more competitive.
President of Comoros at the presidency. Now, President John Dramani Mahama said that there's a need to ensure that existing infrastructure in Africa support trade within African countries. He also said that although countries have signed the protocol on the African Continental Free Trade Area, they must also focus on developing the infrastructure needed to facilitate trade.
However, trade liberalization in itself is not enough. We must invest in infrastructure to facilitate trade, efficient road, rail networks, ports, and digital connectivity. We must strengthen African supply chains to ensure that our industries produce goods and services that meet both regional and global standards. We must harmonize our trade policies to eliminate non-tariff barriers and reduce the cost of doing businesses across borders. We must fast-track the full operationalization of the Pan-African Payment and Settlement System to facilitate the payment for goods and services across our continent. If we commit to these actions, we can unlock a $3.4 trillion market, creating jobs and prosperity for millions of Africans across this continent.
Let's take you now to Parliament, where the Appointments Committee is set to recommend to the entire House the approval of Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa's nomination as Foreign Minister by consensus. Well, the not-torn MP was questioned by the committee for over 6 hours, but just before his vetting ended, the MPP minority decided not to participate any further due to disagreement over a directive from the Speaker to reconstitute the committee. The MPP also skipped the vetting of 11 other nominees on Friday. The committee also recommended the approval of Health Minister-designate Minta Kando and all other nominees vetted on Friday by consensus. Let's listen to the chairman of the committee, Bernard Ahiafo, speak to the matter.
This committee must recommend to the House, and the recommendation must be by way of the decision of the committee, whether a majority or a consensus decision. I would therefore put a question that whether we should take Minta Akandong by consensus or by a majority decision. We form a quorum. And may I hear the members? Consensus. Consensus. All members. Honorable Akandong, consensus. Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa. Consensus. More consensus. Isifu Sedu. Consensus. Mrs. Charity Gardner. Consensus. Salisu B. Awurebe Isifu. Consensus. Wilbert Betty Brentuo. Betty Brentum. Consensus. Joseph Nelson. Consensus. Joseph Adai Akwabwa. Consensus. Consensus. Francis Owusu Entry. Consensus. Phyllis Kwachi Ofosu. Consensus. Eko Edumwa Eko Penny Ochre. Consensus. Poison Charles Luanga. Consensus. Honourable members, a decision has been taken by the committee to recommend for the consideration of the House the minister designate for their various decisions.
Let's take you now to the Ashanti region, where artisans in the Suame Industrial Enclave in Kumasi are counting their losses after a devastating fire swept through over 30 shops Friday night. Several properties, including vehicles, spare parts and auto mechanic equipment worth millions of Ghana cedis, have been ravaged by the inferno. A known fire station in the Ashanti region's largest auto mechanic enclave also was relocated to a farther destination, which the artisans argue fails to respond timely to fire emergencies. Emmanuel Bright was at the fire scene. He filed this report.
Tears drop as artisans at Garage 18 zone in the Suame Industrial Enclave in Kumasi salvage and discard debris from Friday night's inferno. Properties including service tipper trucks, saloon cars, minibuses, spare parts, and other automobile accessories were raised by the blazing inferno. Peter Esiedo has worked as an artisan in the enclave for nearly 3 decades. He couldn't salvage any of his equipment, including restocked items. I had bought new items to sell later, but all have been burnt now. I don't know what exactly I'll be coming here to do since my shop has been burnt. The fire is reported to have started about 10 p.m. on Friday from one of the shops in the area.
So it's been several hours since this fire engulfed properties here, and plumes of smoke continue to be in the atmosphere in this particular place. Although it's unknown the cause of the fire, we understand that it started somewhere in this particular shop that has been razed down and debris left over. It swept through the entire vicinity, destroying properties worth millions of cedis.
Fire tenders reportedly rushed to the scene to extinguish the blazing fire as residents nearby sought refuge. The fire tender from Mampontin came first. The fire hadn't even gutted 5 cars, but they couldn't douse the fire. I couldn't take anything except my children. Everything is burnt.
The
Suame Industrial Enclave is the region's largest auto mechanic and trading center. The garage, located on the fringes of the industrial enclave, is home to many highly combustible items. A fire station previously situated in the vicinity has been relocated to a further destination. How can we be in Suame and have a fire tender all the way from Ejiso to come douse fire? We used to have a fire station, but it's no longer here. The leaders must ensure to establish one here. No casualties were recorded, but the artisans eagerly anticipate financial support to re-establish their livelihoods, as most of them are without insurance.
Reporting from here at the Suame Industrial Enclave in Kumasi, my name is Emmanuel Bright.
Let's head now to the Central Region, where for decades pupils of Accra SDA Basic School and the residents of the surrounding communities in the Accra area in the Central Region struggled to access clean drinking water. They relied on unsafe alternatives, often sharing water with ruminants. Well, there's hope for them now because this long-standing challenge has finally been resolved. There's more in this report.
The ceremony saw hundreds of residents, school children and staff members in jubilant mood, many of whom could not hide their joy as a problem that had persisted for years finally came to an end. According to the headmaster of Accra SDA Basic School, Isaac Forson, the newly completed borehole will provide a lasting solution to these challenges.
It will go a long way to at least reduce the time the children spend in going to search for water. So that time we can use it as instructional hours. That will help the children to learn more instead of spending all those time in searching for water. Secondly, it will also help reduce infection of waterborne diseases like cholera and other things. You can imagine during the COVID and we are not having any good source of water and the children have to do hand washing regularly. They are using unwholesome water to wash their hands. So you can imagine what will happen. So it will reduce the spread of waterborne diseases and other things. And also the community, it will also help them. The cost involved here, other people buy pipeline water through tanker service. So with this intervention, the cost of buying the tanker service will also be relieved from the community.
The borehole, which marks the first healthy water source for the community, is expected to significantly improve the community's health and well-being. Speaking to the media, Larry Elu, an executive member of LG, emphasized the importance of water in human life and LG's dedication to supporting critical infrastructure projects.
LG as a global leading brand gives highest priority for the CSR activities. CSR is nothing but corporate social responsibility, which is something giving back to the society. So we thought water is the most essential in Ghana. So we thought of investing on the water. So that is why we came up with this project. See, we provided this facility for the school. It's basically to focus on the children and the children needs. This borehole can provide water for all the students here. Not only water, but clean water.
The plight of Goma Apra was highlighted by blogger Kobiche, who expressed immense gratitude to LG Electronics for their life-changing project.
I think that it was heartbreaking. It was quite a very sad one because, this is what I do. I moved to rural communities to share untold stories. And so, obviously, when I was told that there was also a community that needed water, and for that matter, their situation was very worse, I drove here, and it was an eyesore seeing how students were walking miles to fetch water to drink and water to wash, water to do other things. It was really a very heartbreaking situation for me.
Well, residents of Kpetoe in the Agotimeziope traditional area are struggling with a shortage of potable water due to failure of pre-colonial era water supply system, which has become obsolete. Now, in response, the traditional authorities have taken the initiative to address the challenge and restore the facility to its intended purpose. There's more in this report by Fred Kwame-Asare.
Which streams through the Agotimeziope district capital of Kpetoe has been the source of water for residents. In the early 1950s, a water supply station was constructed to treat water from the stream to serve residents in the catchment area. However, the facility has outlived its days, hence unable to produce quality water. This has been blamed on the obsolete machinery at the station and the inability of the committee to properly manage the facility.
Kpetoe, which is the district capital of the Agotimeziope district, can no longer rely on such a system for quality water. The current population has outpaced the capacity of this existing system. Lack of maintenance, inadequate resources, and frequent breakdown of the system here makes it difficult for our people to get access to clean, safe, and quality water. The situation is extremely bad during the dry season.
Given this, the Agotime Traditional Council decided to hand over the facility to the Community Water and Sanitation Agency for effective management. The president of the council, Nene Kpetoe IV, was enthused about the initiative.
We've signed a memorandum of understanding between the Agotime District Assembly, the chiefs, that's the traditional authority, and the Ghana Water, CWSA, Community Water and Sanitation Agency, for the government to take over the management system of the water we are drinking. We have been assured that there's going to be extension in the treatment and the metering will be according to the Ghana Water criteria. So we are looking forward to meeting or to receiving that kind of treatment and management from them. So we are thankful to Ghana Water for what they have come to do in Agotime today.
Fred Kwame-Asare, Joy News, Kpetoe.
The Asante Otumfuo II has inspected work done on phase 1 of the Hill Konfanochi teaching project. Now, this project has been completed to accommodate patients. Over $4 million of the targeted $10 million have been raised in 6 months for the project execution to give a facelift to KATH. Now, management says that a $1 million maintenance fund has also been set up to ensure the longevity and upkeep of sustainable installation under the project, including solar heated showers for patients' comfort. There's more in this report by Clinton Yeboah.
In a much anticipated visit, His Royal Majesty Otumfuo II is touring the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital to evaluate the progress of the Hill KATH project. This visitation is not just to assess the progress of work made so far, but also to ascertain the works that are yet to be done. And these rooms that you see on your screens were once dilapidated, they were once destroyed and hard to use, but currently they have been given a facelift suitable for patient accommodation. Architect and project manager Kojoda Asante disclosed the ambitious sustainable initiatives for energy efficiency and operational cost during the tour.
We are very conscious about sustainability. For our lights in the wards, you have Philips. We source them from Philips. And these are lights that can go on for 40,000 hours. Okay, so we expect that in the next 5-10 years, you wouldn't have to change any bulb. And now if you go to the new walls that we've done, we've installed solar heaters on top there. So hot water is always available at the showers, at the kitchen areas. We do not expect any of the things we fixed up there to go bad in the next 5-10 years.
Upon completion of the 4 blocks, the hospital will transition to solar power, reducing reliance on the national grid. Chairman of the Hill KATH project, Samia Duboache, says the completion of phase 1 is readying patients to be evacuated to the new one to create room for phase 2 of the project to begin.
Immediately going to evacuate the patients from the makeshift ward into the facility that you have seen, so that it will give way for us to be able to do the second phase, which will comprise of A1 and then A2. We are optimistic that this time round we'll be able to work with the speed of light, because a lot of the things that we needed for the project are all here. So we'll work with the speed of light to ensure that the block A is completed for occupancy by patients.
He appealed to the public to continue supporting the project, indicating the evidence of completed works makes their support worthy.
What is left is more. So we'll therefore use this opportunity to continuously appeal to all and sundry. For those that were skeptical about the use of the money, at least you have seen the quality of work that has been done.
Some well-wishers and contributors to the project expressed their satisfaction on the progress made on the project.
We've seen the quality of the work done, very impressive and so encouraging. I think this is even motivating us to try and even contribute more, so that the work will be completed very soon.
Bibia oye bia bo man asanteman no omay celebrities no yasonte ne yemra ne mamansa nyina hu mesra mo management aya ade we ya hye mo nsa no mo hwe ne ye mo ma mo nsa nto ho mo ma mo nsa nko ho bibi saye a mo repair bibi saye a mo na mo ntonko sum penti
all seem to be okay and satisfied with the work done so far, but the call for support is still on. I've been reporting from Konfanochi Teaching Hospital in Kumasi. My name is Clinton Yeboah for Joy News.
Neglected tropical diseases continue to affect millions of people worldwide, disproportionately impacting the most vulnerable communities. Now, although preventable and treatable, these diseases cause long-term disabilities, economic hardship, and social stigma. In Ghana, health authorities are intensifying efforts to eliminate NTDs, emphasizing the need for urgent action and stronger collaborations. This year's World NTD Day, observed in the Volta region under the theme Act Now to Eliminate NTDs, brought together key stakeholders to reinforce the fight against these diseases.
The commemoration of World NTD Day 2025 brought together key stakeholders in Ghana's health sector to highlight the country's ongoing efforts to combat neglected tropical diseases. NTDs including lymphatic filariasis, river blindness, continue to threaten millions of lives, particularly in undeserved communities. In an interview, the Director of Technical Coordination at the Ministry of Health and Chairman of the Ghana Intra-Country Coordinating Committee for NTDs, Dr. Hafez Adam Taha, emphasized the importance of this year's theme and the urgency to eliminate these diseases.
So the trick is that we move from region to region. Last year we did it in Accra. Previous years we've celebrated it in other regions because the NTDs or the neglected tropical diseases, they are prevalent in all the 16 regions in our country and in all districts. And so it doesn't spare anybody, and that's why it's important that we pay attention. And the fact of the matter is that because it's not receiving the attention that it needed, and that's why we christen it as neglected tropical disease, or it's not getting prominency as in the case of malaria, for instance, as in the case of tuberculosis. But they are really affecting, and particularly the poor communities. And as I said, because of religious belief and traditional belief, some think that, oh, this is not a disease that you can send to the hospital or clinic, you know, to be treated. But that is not the case. People must know that it's treatable, provided you know, go to the hospital early enough from the beginning, so that you'll be able to get the treatment for it.
The Director General of the Ghana Health Services, Dr. Patrick Kumabuaji, in a speech delivered on his behalf by Chrysanthus Kubiu, reaffirmed the government's commitment to eradicating NTDs. He highlighted Ghana's efforts in strengthening surveillance, expanding treatment programs, and promoting public health interventions to ensure a future free from NTDs.
The NTD program and partners have worked tirelessly to make significant strides in the elimination of these diseases in the country. Suffice it to say that the Ghana Health Service must maximize its partnership with other governmental and non-governmental organizations.
Ghana has made significant progress in the fight against NTDs through mass drug administration, distribution medications to prevent and treat NTDs in affected communities, health education campaigns including encouraging early diagnosis and treatment through awareness programs, and many more. You're still watching Joy Newsroom. After this quick turn, we'll be back to tell you how we celebrated 30 years of God's goodness here at Multimedia. Thanks for staying with us. Time now for business. Members of the Hoteliers Association of Ghana are demanding that the newly appointed Minister for Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts, Jifa Gomashi, take immediate action to reduce the importation of products essential to their businesses. They argue that this reliance on foreign goods is a key factor driving up the cost of operating hotels in Ghana. Ralph Aite, manager of Coconut Grove Regency Hotel, explains that the hotel's reliance on imported goods is not merely out of preference, but a necessity, and according to him, is actually part of measures to meet the international standards and maintain a competitive edge.
We want to encourage you to liaise with the Ministry of Agriculture, to liaise with the Cotton Development Board, that there's too much dependency on imports. One of our facilities, a 5-star hotel, does about 7,000, if you add it all together, 7,000 pieces of chicken a month. But unfortunately, they have to import it from South Africa. The long and short of it is that our industry is so challenged and dollar-based that it's very, very difficult sometimes comparatively to offer rates that people want. So there's almost always the talk that Ghana, coming here, hotels are expensive, hotels are expensive. But Honorable, pillows, even pillows, we have to import them. Towels, we have to import them. Bed sheets, we have to import them. There's only one item in our rooms that we don't import, which is the soaps that are made in the northern region. The body creams, etc., we have to import them. But these can be done locally. So we want to encourage you to have a legacy product, which when you leave, you know that you left an indelible legacy, that all hotels in Ghana will patronize locally grown rice and locally grown chicken. And then to help to reduce our imports of fabrics that we use in our rooms with the development, or better still, the reintroduction of the cotton industry in Ghana. We believe that these two can really help to reduce our dependency on imported items.
The Minister-designate Ablaji Fagomashim has pledged to deliver on the promises stated in the NDC's manifesto.
Show, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, that tourism contributed over $3.5 billion US dollars to our GDP. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama at the NDC promises you improvement in the tourism development of our country, and we have a flagship program which is not an event but an attitude, a change of doing things that we call the Black Star Experience. I've just heard you say that every month you're going to do something different. May I urge Ralph and his colleagues to evolve the Black Star Experience in the planning that you're going to do for your staff and your clients. And I promise to be a part of as many as I can be, and we'll see how far we can go with that. We cannot say we love our country and not love the things in it. How is it that we import everything? The value chain that he just gave us indicates that there's very little that we produce in our own country. We can't succeed if we do that.
You're still watching JoyNewsRoom. We'll be back after this quick breather. Well, thanks for staying with us. The Kumasi unit of the Multimedia Group, Love FM and Insura FM also commemorated the 30 years of God's goodness with thanksgiving and praises. Well, this event, which has become a cornerstone of the company's culture here at Multimedia Group, serves as an opportunity to express gratitude to God for the past year and to look forward with hope to the years to come, especially as we mark 30 years of establishment in the multimedia business. Well, Emanuela Irabna filed this report.
The Thanksgiving service saw elated staff from all departments joining spirits in raising their voices in praise and worship with soul-uplifting songs. Head pastor of Miracle Manor Church, Pastor Joy Obed Obing, who led the service, spoke of the power of moving out of one's comfort zone and persevering to make a difference in society. He encouraged the congregation to make God their portion in 2025 and beyond.
God has been our portion as an organization, and He will continue to be our ultimate satisfaction, our sustainer, our provider, and our cup of blessing. As we continue to trust Him to bring us peace and stability, increase and profitability amidst the world of uncertainty, I believe with all my heart that this year is going to be a better year than last year.
Speaking on behalf of the multimedia management team, news editor, Kofi Edu-Domfe expressed great gratitude to the entire team for being steadfast despite the challenges in the previous year.
Indeed, the past year being an election year with its own uncertainties was challenging for us individually and of course as a business. But we continued to work hard, and through it all, through our resilience, this is how far the Lord has brought us. Dear colleagues, this year the Multimedia Group is 30 years, a remarkable milestone in journalism and media excellence. We will continue to stay true to our values and commit to media excellence, integrity, and most importantly, public excellence.
Other staff who joined in the Thanksgiving service shared their experience working with the Multimedia Group and the expectation for the new year.
Our motto, our energy is Christ at work, and that has given us the energy to push us forward from day one till date.
Everything that we do, we've grown over the years in terms of on air. We've been the leaders for a very long time, and we still are. So the experience has been very great.
Samson Ado, popularly known as Alaje, is the longest serving employee in Kumasi.
Really tough, but my memory is the good platform that multimedia will give you to excel. It's a learning field. If you are here as a journalist, you can be a presenter. You can be administrator. It's a learning field for everybody.
Starting the year with God, the Multimedia Group is poised to continually touch lives in Ashanti region and beyond, and also continually create good content for the audience. Here at the Multimedia Group Kumasi, my name is Arabna Akwe.
Well, it's been 30 years of God's goodness, and that's how we wrap up the bulletin. For more news, please log on to myjoyonline.com. Some top stories there. We've handed perpetrators to the police, and that is coming from Accra Academy. You can read that story. It's on the viral video on a child being flogged by his colleagues with a machete. Other stories there. You can go on myjoyonline.com and read it. But today, also at 8 p.m. you want to stick and stay with us here on the Joy News channel. On The Probe, MFR Powell will be engaging the minority leader Alexander Fenyomakin on all the issues that have come up, especially post the vetting. And I'm sure another key thing that will come up would be his line of questioning, why exactly he decided to grill a Blakwa for that long. All that will come up at 8 p.m. on The Probe. My name is Faustina Safo. Have a pleasant day as you enjoy the rest of our programs.